everyone. My name's Andrew. I play drums in the Brisbane metalcore band Wildheart.
Hello, I'm Adam. I play guitar for Wildheart, and we just put out a new single called Death Is All That's Left.
Beautiful, guys. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Happy to be here,
Thank
mate.
you.
Cool. So, as you say, bro, Wildheart recently premiered the track Death Is All That's Left via Heavy. So, how's the early reception been for the song?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. The reception's been really awesome. Like we've gotten a lot of really positive, reviews and comments, and a lot of kind of traction online. A lot of sharing across like all our platforms. Like, we just recently, well, not recently, but we started up a TikTok, and that's been going well. So, yeah, really happy with the response. And the feedback we've gotten. Like I feel like every kind of release we work on, we're just stepping it up a notch, and it felt really good that was recognized in all the feedback and positive words.
So, tell us a bit more about the song from a musical point of view, guys, and what you're going for with it.
Really just wanted to kind of hone in on some more of my like metalcore influence. So channeling a lot of like Lost Together, Lost Forever era architects, kind of older Parkway Drive, and there's a bit of Bury Dead and stuff like that mixed in there too. But yeah, just wanted to write something really fast and heavy. And we just rolled with that.
Well, you pretty much nailed it, mate, because you don't get much faster and much heavier than that fucker.
It's a hard one to play live. So we'll find out tomorrow night.
Oh, so true. And as with all of your music, Death Is All That's Left has a strong message, right? This time calling out discrimination and inequality. So can you elaborate on what that song is about?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really, we wanted to kind of continue the themes that we started exploring in our single Rising Tide back in 2019. So that was Axel kind of brought forward that he wanted to sing about Indigenous deaths in custody, and the alarming rate that those are continuing. And so when we kind of put this song together, it was very dark, very gritty, very heavy, and it just was a natural progression to go, this is still an issue. First Nations people are still disproportionately represented in the incarceration numbers. We want to raise awareness and advocate for this, and push that message that this is still an issue. This needs to be talked about, and there needs to be change.
So let's just say, like, all of your music has got a strong message running through it, guys. Like, you are probably in the best position to be able to gauge this, but like, do you think it's having an effect? Like, do you think it's making people listen and look at it from a different perspective?
It's hard to say. I think it's definitely opened up conversations with people that sort of sit outside the heavy music scene. And I would, yeah, I mean, I would like to think that, it has caused some people who might not necessarily think about these things to consider it. But yeah, it's hard to say. Like no one, like we obviously do get feedback from a lot of people. Like, yeah, like I really like what you guys are talking about, but they kind of are already in that space somewhat. But I'm trying to think. Have you had anyone, Andrew, that's like come up and been like, I didn't know about this or something like that?
Yeah, I definitely see that it starts conversations with people who are maybe not super politically engaged, and especially around like the Yes campaign and kind of the misinformation around the No campaign that was going around end of last year. People were kind of having conversations in line and at shows of like, what does this look like? What's the, can you tell us a little bit more about that? And obviously all we can do is kind of, give Axel that platform and amplify his voice and, his thoughts and feelings about Indigenous issues. So I definitely think though that it's starting conversations with people who may not have already been engaged in that space. Like, I mean, I think back to like playing local heavy music at community hall shows. I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, we weren't kind of having these conversations. And so I think Wildheart definitely has that place of raising that awareness and having that starting point for some people. hopefully it is making change, and there's people out there listening to the message and going, like, learning, educating themselves and making informed decisions especially when it comes to things like voting and elections. So.
Yeah, very cool. The song was recently featured on Channel 7's AFL Friday Night Footy as part of the Sir Doug Nicholls round. Guys, like, that must have been a pretty cool feeling. Did you watch it? Did you watch the game so you could hear your song?
I know Andrew did.
Yeah, so it wasn't actually Death Is All That's Left. It was the previous single, our cover of Solid Rock by Goanna, that was featured.
Okay.
But yeah, likewise, like, really, really cool to have our name, like, it came on just after, like, when the quarter time bell went, and our name and the track and playing on the screen. So that was the Sydney Swans versus Carlton FC game last Friday night. Yeah, and just that's a real, like, to see your name up there is a really, really cool feeling. I remember when we got that email, and it was like a week's notice that it was like, yep, you're going to be on the AFL. We're like, whoa, like, yeah, really, really special. So
was it just on the TV telecast, or was it actually at the ground and like on the big screens at the ground?
It sounded like it was at the actual stadium, because you could hear it playing in the background. But I'm not sure, like, what it, like, because of the Gabba, it's so noisy, and like, it's kind of hard to hear those songs. But Adam was saying, like, he said, they've played like Parkway when there's a score, or like Architects once as well.
That was the NRL.
Really, oh, that was NRL, was it?
Yeah.
It's a shame they put your song on with two shit football teams, though, bud. Like Sydney. It was a shit about them.
It could have been the Lions. I would watch.
I'm an Essendon supporter, so I'm biased. Now, Death Is All That's Left follows your previous single, Sacred Ground, which came out in March of last year. So are they standalone singles, or are they part of a bigger album or EP picture?
They're standalone. Yeah. So the cover and of Solid Rock and Sacred Ground were their own kind of thing that we did through Bad Apples. And then this one, it was kind of a thing of like, we've got this kind of time between releases, we should probably put something out. So we just kind of had a look at what we had sort of in the pipeline, and just sort of talked it out, like, which song should we do, which one would be the most interesting for people to hear.
Yeah. And are they indicative of the direction you're going to be moving in the forward? Like, you're going to go heavier?
I think so, yeah. Like, we do have more music on the way, and I think this song definitely stands out as one of the heaviest songs we've done. I think I'm trying to, like, we want to push things in every avenue. Like, we want to make the heavier parts heavier, but we also really want to play into like we have a lot of ambient stuff as well, really kind of enhance that, especially since we've got Jordan in the band now from Nervous Light. He's got like a really strong singing voice. So it's like this is like the first stuff we've done with him as well, where he's like been part of the whole process. So yeah, just, I guess, playing to our strengths more, just pushing everything as far as we can.
Your debut album, Global Crisis, which came out a couple of years ago, got the 2022 Gold Coast Music Awards Release of the Year. It was nominated for a host of other awards, and deservedly so, guys. But like, that album, like, looking back in hindsight, that album would have been relatively easy, because these are unknowns and there wasn't that pressure on you. But now going into the next one after getting all those accolades and stuff, do you think there's a bit more pressure?
There is, but it's not really coming from like that sort of space. I think it's more sort of internal pressure, like me worrying about if it's good enough, me worrying if people are going to like it, which is kind of that thing that we go through with every release, I find.
I reckon he's going to nail it, boys. I reckon he's just going to harness that energy and come out swinging. That's my bet.
Thank you. Yeah.
No worries. And also, what's next for Wildheart, guys? You got any shows coming up?
Yeah, so we're doing a single launch on the Gold Coast tomorrow night, so Thursday, 30th of May, at Vinny's Dive. Really, really solid lineup. Like, I was kind of thinking, like, we did a Brisbane headline in October last year, and I was thinking, okay, for this one, again, that one was really special, really strong lineup of bands, really great night to celebrate. And it was kind of like, I want like, the same kind of experience. I want to share this with people. And so we got really cool bands like Crime Scene, a band from Byron Bay. They're like hardcore royalty, like played with them back in like 07, I think it was. So I got them, got Death Row from Southport, who are really cool as well, really heavy. And then Consequence opening it up. So they're awesome as well, really cool, like punk hardcore band. So it's a bit scary to be playing after all those bands, but yeah. And then after that, we're planning to just hit the road as much as possible. We've been talking about North Queensland. We haven't been up there in a couple of years, and then obviously just touring up and down the East Coast again, like getting back to some really nice spots, like obviously Melbourne. Adelaide was really fun when we did Unify off the record down there, so I'd love to get back there. But yeah, it's just kind of locking it in and getting it announced. So hopefully that will be not too far off.
Fantastic, gentlemen. Well, thanks very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. The single Death Is All That's Left is out now, but it sounds like you've got some pretty exciting things coming up. So stay tuned to the Wildheart socials for more.